Hi folks, how you all doing? It's Will here, or Big Bulba7 MMA as you may know me on Twitter. I'm here to break down UFC 181 next week from the Mandalay Bay Event Centre in Las Vegas, Nevada, for the UFC's last pay-per-view of 2014, UFC 181, Hendricks versus Lawler 2. We've also got Anthony Pettis against Gilbert Melendez for the UFC lightweight title, which is awesome. The card overall I really like, a lot of great fights from the start. I will get into that in a second. First of all, I would just like to thank so many people. I've been pretty quiet with my videos the last month or so. A few weeks ago I had a personal tragedy. I lost my son, which was it took a lot out of me. Still feeling the effects, but doing stuff like this takes my mind off it for at least a few moments. So I just want to thank everybody for the support. You've been great. Nice to know that there's people out there who can lift your spirits. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Onto the card here, UFC 181. As I said, a really good card from top to bottom. Looking forward to seeing the Pettis brothers as usual. I'm a huge fan of the guys. I'm going to get straight into it. We're going to go to the featherweight division, if I think was right. Featherweight division, we've got Alex White against Clay Collard. Alex White, Clay Collard are both coming off losses. Alex White to Lucas Martins, Clay Collard on his UFC debut to Max Holloway. Alex White, a very good kickboxer who likes to use his lateral movement quite a bit. His footwork's fairly decent. I picked him to beat Martins last time out and he got knocked out in the third round. Very good kickboxer, who likes to kind of engage and not kind of be in the back foot quite a bit. But it's going to have to be because Clay Collard is extremely aggressive. For somebody in the UFC debut last time out, Clay Collard I thought was phenomenal against Max Holloway. Max Holloway is one of the best guys in the division. He did show a lot of weaknesses. He's got really bad, he gets hit quite a lot. His striking defense is quite bad. Good chin. His head kind of stays the same though, and it's right there to be hit. But I like him in this fight. He throws a lot of funky stuff, and I think he will catch Alex White with something and knock him out. And he's an underdog. I'll be putting money on Clay Collard. If I was as well, it's somebody to have a look at is Clay Collard in this fight, if you're going to put any money on anybody. So I'm going to go Clay Collard by unanimous decision. If I can maybe see him getting a finish as well, but I'm going to go a decision. Next up, we've got Sergio Pettis against Matt Hobart. Matt Hobart, he is 1-1 in the UFC, lost to Pedro Munoz down in Brazil, got knocked out, won his last fight against Aaron Phillips, if he just kept on his feet, he would have won the fight, but he kept getting taken down and obviously showed no improvements from his previous fights. A guy who looks for submissions, he wants to get the fight to the ground. Even if he gets the fight to the ground against Sergio Pettis, I don't think he can win this fight. Sergio Pettis and me, we've interacted on Twitter a little bit. This will probably be his last fight at bantamweight for a while. He's going to go back down to flyweight division where he had success before he came into the UFC. I'm a little bit surprised he never came straight into the flyweight division for that. So 2015 is going to be a big year for Sergio Pettis down the flyweight division, I reckon, from what he said to me anyway. But I think this fight is tailor-made for him against Matt Hobart, and I think he can knock him out as well. So I'm going to go Sergio Pettis by knockout in the second round. On to the Fox Sports 1 card, and we start in the women's bantamweight division. We've got Raquel Rocky Pennington against Ashley Evans-Smith. Evans-Smith, new to the UFC, 3-0. A fighter who I've kind of been following since she was in the amateurs a little bit. She's finished her 3 fights, all in the third round, so she's very durable when it goes into the late rounds, and she puts beatings on people. She beat Marcia Knight last time out in World Series of Fights, and before that she beat a person called Fallon Fox. Now, if you don't know who Fallon Fox is, go on the internet, have a look at him. She's caused a bit of hysteria in the MMA world, but Ashley Evans last time out destroyed her, finished her in the third round. Kind of shut her mouth a little bit, or shut Fallon Fox's mouth. So if you don't know who she is, go and have a look and you'll be a little bit more enlightened to who she is there. So I'm going to go, but in this fight, I think Raquel Pennington is, she's only got one style. She comes forward. She lost last time out to Jessica Andrade. She gets taken down fairly. She's got bad takedown defense. Evans should take her down here, and I like her to win via decision. So I'm going to go Evans-Smith for my first fight in UFC to win by decision. Next up, we've got Corey Anderson against Justin Jones. Tough 19 winner at light heavyweight. Corey Anderson, great wrestler. showing ever improving skills on his feet. I speak to a few people from Rufus Sport or around the camp that know the camp a lot better, saying he's the only guy that can really hang when it comes to Ben Askren regarding his wrestling. That's the person who works with on his wrestling. He says they two are the best wrestlers in the country. If they're saying that, it must be good. His striking is always going to get better if he's working at Rufus Sport. He's against Justin Jones here, 3-0. He 2 wins by submission, 1 by TKO. Last time out against John Hackleman Jr., he beat him via a guillotine choke in the first round. Very impressive finish. Hackleman Jr. was a guy. John Hackleman, you'll know, he was Chuck Liddell's coach for a long time. He was shown, he had a bit hype behind him. That got put to sleep when Jones put him to sleep. So I like Corey Anderson here. I think he can finish him. So I'm going to go submission in the second. Next up, we're in the TUF 19 middleweight winner. We've got Eddie Truck Gordon against Josh Saman. Eddie Gordon, I just want to get into a few things with this guy. Not a nicer guy, and I'll probably say this in a lot of videos, not a nicer guy you will ever meet outside the octagon. Just after he won, he was announced he was coming to Dublin. As soon as I heard that, I was really, really excited. Looking forward to meeting him, and he's just such a nice guy. He brought over some gear for me from America. Told him I'll give him the money for it. He didn't want it. We had a few drinks, we talked a few things, talked the fights that he was looking forward to hopefully having in the future. Just a top guy. Ever get the chance to meet Eddie Gordon, go and do it. Fighting wise, last time against Diego Lima, he just came out and blasted him. He's got the power in his hands. If he lets it go, he will. He can hurt a lot of people in that middleweight division, and he's got the wrestling to back up as well. Josh Saman, he was on TUF 18. Never really liked him in the show. He just kind of run his mouth a little bit too much for my liking. He hasn't fought in a long time. I think it was April 2013. I like Eddie Gordon in this fight. I was thinking early on he might knock him out. I don't think he will. I think he'll put him against the cage, and he'll take him down and he'll ground and pound, and he'll get an easy decision victory. So Eddie Gordon for me via decision, unanimous decision. And the main event, the main fight on the Fox Sports 1 card is a bantamweight bout between Uriah Faber and Francisco Rivera. The UFC are just trying to give Uriah Faber anybody they can, really. It doesn't matter if they're coming off wins or losses, they're just going to feed them to Uriah Faber. Francisco Rivera lost last time out to Takeya Misagaki. He was on a bit of a streak before that, I have to say. Uriah Faber beat Alex Caceres, but Uriah Faber beats anybody in that division that's not named Renan Barão and perhaps TJ Dillashaw, and I don't see it being any different here. Francisco Rivera, he has really good boxing skills, but I don't think that's enough just to beat Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber's just too good everywhere for that. So I like Uriah Faber by submission later on in this fight. So I'm going to go third round submission for Uriah Faber. On to the main card, which looking at it right now looks really, really nice. I really like the look of it. And it's starting off in the lightweight division. A bout between Tony Ferguson and Abel Trujillo. Two guys who aren't even in the top 15 of the lightweight division, so that says everything about how that division is. It's probably one of the best in the UFC, my personal favourite, I think. Tony Ferguson, a guy who's coming off, I think, 3 wins. I think Kakuno was one of them, Rio was another one, and a split decision victory, I think it was, against Danny Castillo at UFC 177. A guy who's fairly good everywhere. Respect his skill set a lot. Not his biggest fan overall, but his skill set is very good. He's got submissions and he's got strikes, and he's very quick hand speed and quick with his feet as well. He gets in and out very well. Abel Trujillo, a guy, I'm a really big fan of this guy. I think his only loss was to Khabib, where he got absolutely destroyed. He just got thrown around like a doll in that fight. His last time out, he fought in February against Jamie Varner, one of my favourite fights of the year, and my favourite knockout of the year. Guys were just trading. Either one of them could have got knocked out. I think it was in the second round. He threw a massive right hook and absolutely put Jamie Varner to sleep. My favourite knockout of the year, as I said before. I think he was supposed to fight Miles Jury back at San Antonio. Bobby Green was mentioned as well. So this is a big fight for these two to kind of push towards that top 15. I think Tony Ferguson's chin is not all it's cracked up to be. I think Abel Trujillo is going to hit him with something and he's going to put him down. So I'm going to go Abel Trujillo via knockout early in the third round. Heavyweight bout, Todd Duffy against Anthony Hamilton. I like Todd Duffy in this fight. He's had some, I think he's had some problems outside the octagon. He's been a little bit ill. Remember on the MMA Hour, he was telling Helwani about how ill he was. Anthony Hamilton fights out of the Jackson Winklejohns in New Mexico, coming off a win over Ruan Potts at UFC 177. Devastating body strikes. You should have seen Potts' body after that fight. He had fist marks on his body where he was hitting, where he was taken out by Hamilton. But I think Todd Duffy, he's a guy that can probably knock out a lot of people in that heavyweight division, and he's got some decent wrestling and grappling as well. I like Todd Duffy first round via knockout. Another heavyweight bout, we've got Travis Brown against Brendan Schaub. Travis Brown, coming off that heavy loss to Fabrizio Verdum, suffered a lot of injuries. He's moved camp. He's went from Jackson Winklejohns to Glendale Fight Club with Edmund Taverdian, Ronda Rousey's coach. So his boxing's going to be a lot better by going over there to get trained by Taverdian. Brendan Schaub, we all know he hasn't got a chin. He's got a little bit of a ground game. This fight's not going to get to the ground. Travis Brown's going to knock him out, and Brendan Schaub's going to be reaching for Jesus yet again, like he always does when he gets knocked out, like he did against Nogueira, and so on. So I like Travis Brown by knockout, and I think he'll do it early again in the first. On to one of the main events of the night, my fight I'm looking forward to the most in the entire card. Anthony Showtime Pettis against Gilbert Melendez for the UFC lightweight title. First thing I want to say, huge Anthony Pettis fan, as I've said, but August 2013 was the last time this belt was defended. I personally think the belt should have been taken off Pettis, and somebody else should have fought for it. It stopped that division dead in its track. There is contenders ready for Pettis if he wins this fight on Melendez. I just don't think it should be, after a year, it should be taken off somebody. It's the same with Cain Velasquez. I think the belt should be taken away from him as well. But getting on to the fight, just a great fight overall. They've been the tough coaches in the tough 20 this year for the ladies. Melendez, he's one of the veterans of the sport, one of the best fighters in the sport, I believe. He was the Strikeforce champion, come over here, faced Benson Henderson. I personally think he beat Benson Henderson, that's just me. A lot of people picked Henderson, and the fight was very close. I'm glad he's got another shot here. He's good everywhere. He's great on the ground. He's got great endurance. Takes big shots. Get hit by Diego Sanchez, which I think he stepped off the gas a little bit and got knocked down by him. Got a little bit lucky there. Still won the fight. Hands down won the fight. He's against Anthony Pettis here, the former WEC champion, the UFC champion. First fight since he won the title at UFC 164 against Ben Henderson. The guy's dangerous everywhere. I think we know that now. He's striking. I don't think there's anybody that can compete with him striking in the UFC, in my opinion. And he's got submission skills like he showed against Benson Henderson here. I just think that Anthony Pettis is too much. And I think the whole shit that's going on with Rufus Sport at the minute, all the bad talk, is only going to inspire Pettis even more. So I'm going to go for Anthony Pettis to stop Gilbert Melendez via strikes in the third round of this fight, and then go on to a big 2015 for Anthony Pettis to cement his legacy as one of the best in the lightweight division. So Anthony Pettis, third round TKO. And on to the main event of the night. We have Johnny Hendricks against Robbie Lawler in a rematch from UFC 171 for the UFC Welterweight Championship. That fight, you watch it was 2 rounds apiece after 4. Both had taken big shots. The winner of that 5th round was going to take it. Johnny Hendricks, with his wrestling, came and took him down against the cage. And Robbie Lawler, he started smiling. He knew that fight was going away from him then. But in this fight, Hendricks has been injured for the last 9 months or however long when that fight last took place. Lawler's fought a few times in that space of time and looked devastating doing so. My pick is going to be Robbie Lawler. I don't think he's going to make that same, if it gets into later rounds, I don't think he's going to make that same mistake again. And I'm really hopeful that Robbie Lawler can win the title. I think it'd be a great story because he's a guy who came into the UFC with a lot of hype, beat some guys via devastating knockout, got knocked out himself, went to Strikeforce. He fights anybody. The guy fights anybody. And since he's come into the UFC, since Strikeforce folded, there's not been a more impressive fighter than Robbie Lawler. So I'm going to pick Robbie Lawler. I think he can knock him out. I'm going to go knockout. So I'm going to go 4th round knockout for Robbie Lawler. And he's going to enter 2015 with another division full of challengers ready to go for that. So that's my picks for UFC 181, people. Thank you very much for watching. Come follow me on Twitter, BigBulba7MMA. There's a whole host of good guys on there to go and follow if you want to chat about MMA. Kingdom MMA, always go and see these guys on the website kingdommma.com. .co.uk, I think it is, sorry. All the world events of MMA they've got on there, so go follow them guys. I'll be back next week for Junior Dos Santos versus Stipe Miocic UFC on Fox, with a kind of heavyweight main card, which is quite good, with Nate Diaz and Rafael Dos Anjos in there as well. I think on the Friday night they've got the Tough 20 finale. Don't know any of the fights on there, so I'll probably not make anything. Just hope Joanne Calderwood's fighting for the belt, but we'll wait and see. But I'll be back for UFC on Fox with a video next week. So take care, enjoy the fights when they come around next Saturday night, and I'll see you soon.